And mic. And mic. Alexander, you enjoyed the last time out talking to your dad so much that here you are again. That's not bad, is it?
You brought me here, but yeah, it was good fun.
Yeah, but come on, it's not like I had to twist your arm about it.
No, it was good fun. It was good fun.
It was all right, wasn't it? No.
Yeah, it was quite good.
Yeah, but I mean, this is also like good practice for when you become a multimedia tycoon yourself, right? So, I mean, you've got all these. I mean, let's face it, you've got more experience at your tender age of people who provide content to online platforms than I do. Because if I remember correctly, okay, I mean, I don't want to be embarrassing or anything, but you used to watch loads of these YouTube videos that, these, what do they call them? Like influencers and YouTubers and stuff that they used to do. So, I mean, you've been watching it for years. I'm really like quite late onto the scene, aren't I?
Yeah, yes, they've been doing all this stuff for years. It's entertaining because obviously as you watch them for longer and longer, you kind of like get more hooked and like you start to actually enjoy the people. And so if you have like a certain sense of humor, then you enjoy certain people. And I think YouTube do quite a good job with entertaining young people.
Mm.
So,
I mean, do you remember a couple of guys that you used to watch? Anybody sort of jump out at you or whatever?
well, the people that I still watch, there's a group called the Sidemen,
Okay.
who I find very entertaining, who at the moment are probably at the peak of their careers in their
What
group channel.
what do they do? Are these like the guys that score goals from ridiculous parts of the pitch or something?
No, they well obviously they're separate channels. They might do like a few gaming videos or they might talk to fans or something, but then they have their main channel where they do quite like, for example, they might do like, I don't know, a few weeks ago they did a real life Tinder video.
Yeah, so that's the dating app. So what do they do? Like, they do
It's
videos of dates or like
no,
disastrous dates or something.
it's online. No, not online. It's in person. So it's like they'll have the Tinder same setup. They'll give their pickup line, and then the girl will either swipe yes or swipe no, and then they all have their own go, and then there'll be another girl that comes on and does the same thing. But so it might not be for you or anyone or certain people, but it's quite entertaining.
Okay, I see. And do you actually see the people involved? As in, okay, you said girl, but maybe there are some people looking for guys as well. I don't know. Does that happen?
They had a guy on there once or twice actually, I think.
Okay, and are they more successful in their? Do they have better lines when they're looking for guys? Do guys care about the lines that come in?
Um, I think they take the line into consideration. I mean, a lot of the time the lines are quite explicit.
Ah, okay. It's one of those.
Yeah.
I see. All right. So what kind of age group is that target? And I mean, how long have you been watching this?
Well,
'Cause-
they haven't always done like these types of videos. It's more I used to watch their own individual channel, which was a bit more gaming.
Mm.
But I mean, I don't know, they get tens of millions of views. So it could be for God knows, I don't know like specifically who watches, but I'm assuming it's probably my age and up to about 19, 20.
Mm. No, okay. Well, I just find it strange. That's all. That explicit chat lines. I mean, because I don't want to come across as being all so old-fashioned. Because to be honest, nowadays, um, anything can work if you speak to somebody who's in the right kind of mood for it to work. So if you speak to them in an old-fashioned way, or perhaps in this sort of semi-joking, semi-erotic way, maybe they prefer that as well in a moment. I don't know, but. Yeah, okay. But I mean, obviously the target age would be a little bit above 16 or 17, I imagine. Or is that just me being silly? Nowadays, does everybody speak in that way?
I mean, it probably is, but they obviously, it's not like completely just, they'll do explicit videos. They'll do, like I said, they'll do videos like they'll spend money on each other, or I don't know, they'll do like challenges that are like public ones. Like they might do some sort of like, how people do like marathon things, or some sort of like physical activity. They'll do stuff like that, which are just entertaining because the people themselves are quite funny.
Yeah, but I mean, you're not foul mouth, or is it okay to say the word foul? You don't use swear words, do you? So, I mean, generally speaking, would you say people your age do use? I mean, I know they like listening to swear words because, yeah, let's face it, it's somebody swore, it's a bit cool, but yeah, I mean, is there a lot of swearing in your year in your school? Is it like on vogue to be quite offensive, insulting?
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on where certain people are, but yeah, most teenagers are swearing quite often. But I mean, obviously in school it's a bit different because if you swear, you get a debt, so you don't
Okay.
really. But if it's outside of school, yeah, people do.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. I mean, I'm obviously, I appreciate, the sort of strategically placed swear word. It does tend to emphasize the sense of what you're trying to say. So on occasion, it makes sense. Sometimes you actually need to have it in there. I'm not an angel, and when I'm not working, I do tend to use the odd profanity, but needs must and so on. But yeah, I try not to do it too much. Anyway, okay, you're back at school. How's that going?
Yeah. Not bad actually. We've started off quite quickly. They haven't really messed about. They've just put us straight into some serious work in certain lessons like English and business. We're going over our papers to see how we can improve. And then in other lessons like science, maths, and history, we've just gone on to the next topic. But overall, it's better than last year. I think I'm enjoying it more. Maybe because last year I was getting used to it after COVID, probably messing about a bit more. But it's good.
I mean, I think you generally, I think you like your teachers, but I mean, is the material more challenging, do you think then? And is that part of the entertainment?
For certain subjects, like maths especially, yeah, it's gone definitely a lot more challenging. And also science here and there. But most of it is just, it's not challenging in the sense that I can't do it. It's more in the sense that there is so much to do that you have to keep up, and there isn't exactly time to mess about and just pass it off for another day.
Yeah, no, I guess so. Yeah, I can't remember how it was for me, to be honest. I mean, I don't remember being necessarily overwhelmed with the amount of work that I had to do for my GCSEs, but it was the same for my A levels too. I kind of guess it depends on how intent you are on reaching the sort of higher grade brackets. I think I said to you before, I really went about things in the wrong way, and I didn't sort of push myself as much as I should have done. And I really regret it. So, I mean, yeah, there are some years where it really counts, and I think in this case, it's definitely one of those years for you. So, I really hope you can apply yourself better than I will, because you're going to end up regretting it if you don't. So, especially as you're an intelligent kid. But yeah, that's the way it goes. All right. And how are your friendships then? Do you think any of your friendships have suffered, for not having seen friends? Or, I mean, I know you guys have got the dream when it comes to communication, which obviously we never had, 20 odd years ago. But yeah, have any of your friendships suffered or not? Do you think it's all good?
I think so, but not necessarily because of COVID. I think it's more when I made my friends who are still like the same friends. I haven't really expanded that. But we were friends at a time where we could mess about, and I think I've not being rude, but I think I've slightly matured more in the sense that I've focused in on my work quicker than some of my friends have. So I don't really go to meet up with them as much, or I don't mess about. So maybe a little bit, but not really suffered or lost any friendships.
Okay, well, that's good. I mean, friendships, are something that you can always, revisit when you've, got this kind of stuff out of the way. Unfortunately, the way that life sort of moves on so quickly that if you don't do your work, you kind of end up missing out on an entire year, and I think that would be the worst thing. But yeah, anyway, okay, cool. Well, I hope you can maintain some of the friendships that you've had for many years. There's no substitute for old friends. Basically, new friends are great. I love making friends. I love meeting new people. I love learning about different backgrounds from different people, different genders, different cultures. And I still think that there's no substitute for old friends, because you share a certain amount of history together. I suppose there are pros and cons to both scenarios, really. How long have you been at this school now? 3 years, 4 years?
This is my 5th year.
It's your 5th year there. Okay. But some of your previous friends from other schools, I mean, do you have any contact with them, or is it all your sort of new friends?
There's a few here and there, but I think I've got one main friend from primary who I text but don't see very often. But it's mainly friends from this school.
Okay, all right, that's fine. And obviously a few sort of Armenian friends from the family, from the community, and so
on. Oh yeah, there's everyone from a very young age still very close.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. That's good. Yeah, we talk a lot about movies, and we kind of suggested in our first chat, I think, that we would visit this a bit more seriously. You've picked out 3 movies which you've seen in the last 6 to 12 months, which kind of stand out for you. Yeah, should we pick the first one then from your list? So basically, Schindler's List.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know, I actually have not seen Schindler's List. So, but don't worry about it. Obviously, I kind of know the background of of who Schindler was and so on. But I mean, do you want to talk about why you rate it so highly?
It's very, very realistic. It's not a film that you can watch lightly or that you can put on in the background. It's something that you'd have to seriously be ready for, because it's very heavy hitting. It's a serious film, and if it wasn't in black and white, it would probably be too graphic, to be honest, because it's about a very disturbing time, and it shows that time so well that you almost feel like you are there. And as I told you, after watching the film, it's quite heavy to think about. It's quite grim.
Yeah, I mean, the Holocaust is a horrible chapter in human history, and being Armenian, of course, we also have a certain emotional attachment to the term genocide. I mean, it happened to the Armenians too. It happened to the Jews. It's happened to a number of different cultures around the world, in Africa as well. Sometimes it's extremely recent, horrifically. Yeah, some reason humanity doesn't really learn from its historical tragedies, and any kind of genocide is a lot more than a tragedy. I remember watching La Vita è Bella with Roberto Benigni, and I couldn't finish it. The last 20 minutes, I couldn't watch it, and I know what happens, but I can't watch it. It just gets to me too much. So I think it shows a certain strength of character on your part to have watched that movie all the way through. I will watch it though, because I think it needs to be seen. These kinds of stories need to be told. They need to be remembered. So yeah, it's good though that you are moved by these kinds of tales, in addition to the more technologically advanced movies that are perhaps on offer.
Yeah, well, I mean, for someone who takes history as a GCSE and you hear about these things in the books and you read about it and hear about it, just watching it and seeing it in such a very similar way, it it shows you how bad it was and how lucky we are to have been born during this time rather than during them.
Mm. I'm listening to an audiobook right now written by Damian Lewis, who talks about the SAS in the Second World War that were basically the elite force in Africa that went to combat against the Desert Fox, the Nazis had out there, and Rommel, I think it was. And it's amazing that, you know, the kinds of things that they had to do. But one of their recruitment drives, one of the important things, which was key to their strategy, was pretending to be Nazi soldiers themselves. And they were only able to do that by going to Palestine at the time and recruiting German Jews who had escaped Nazi Germany in 1933.
Mm.
And these people were motivated, and that's what the SAS needed. So they essentially recruited a group of these individuals, took them with them to trained them up, took them to Africa, and basically to fight against the Nazi occupation there. It's just a fascinating story. So I mean, there are so many different elements to the Second World War, which it just makes it compelling, albeit extremely challenging, disturbing as well. So, well, yeah, it's one of those things. Okay. I mean, have you recommended it to friends as well? Have you had other friends watch Schindler's List?
I recommended it to a couple older friends because I think I'm one of very few people at my age who are into more old-fashioned or serious films. I actually, one of my friends, I did suggest it to because we are quite similar people and we enjoy the same things. But he said that after watching a bit of it, he said it was too much.
Mm. But I mean, how do you think? I mean, do you think that kind of storyline should be watered down to make it easier for people to watch, or do you think no, this is the kind of shit that humans can do, and so we need to be able to just watch this and, you know what the horrific consequences of hatred can be?
You know, I think there is nothing you can change about this film in that sense because I think the way they show it is just straight. You see it exactly how it was, and I think that's perfect because it really helps you understand how bad it was. So I don't think they can change much about how they do it, or if they could, yeah, like you say, water it down and make it a bit easier for the viewer. But I think this is perfect.
Mm. Is it? I mean, we've both seen Saving Private Ryan, and the opening scene of that, where they land on the beaches, and I mean, that's pretty hard viewing as well, isn't it? I mean, it doesn't compare in the sense of the human tragedy that was the Holocaust in itself, but there was a huge cost of human life as well represented in the beach landings. That was quite hard to watch as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think comparing the two, I think Saving Private Ryan is a lot more graphic, whereas Schindler's List is quite mental, even though when there is violence, it's disturbing. I'm not going to describe, but it's quite disturbing. But then that first 40-50 minutes of the Saving Private Ryan is just pure violence and gore, and it's just that's quite hard to watch as well.
Hmm. And do you remember which concentration camp Schindler's List was based on? Was that?
I'm not sure. I think they show one or two
Okay.
in the list, but I'm not 100% sure the names were.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I'm going to put a tick next to that for something that I have to watch. because it's just a must, even though it's been out for quite some time now. But yeah, somehow it's always I've managed to avoid it because I know how depressing it is. But I think I'm going to have to pluck up the courage and just go and watch it one day. Yeah, before we get to your third choice, which is one of my favorite movies of all time, you wanted to talk about Endgame, but I suggested we just talk about Marvel in general, because of there is a certain consistency of quality with Marvel. Yeah, how would you rate Marvel as a kind of universe?
It would be quite I mean it would be rude of me to say lower than a 9 out of 10 in the sense that they are quite good, but I'm not going to say 10 because that might just be me being biased. I think that they've maybe not like very recently, but I think they've almost nailed it in the way that they've recreated it on the big screen. I think it's just as good as the comics, and I think the actors especially they have nailed, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is just perfect for the role, isn't he? I mean,
yeah, I can't see anyone else playing that role. I don't if there is another Iron Man movie, I think there is no way that they can put anyone else because he it's like he was born for the role. He was so good.
Yeah, and it's funny. I've been watching Galanda, which is a Swedish, I think it's Swedish detective, and a young actor who plays Loki is in it, and I saw him. What minute? I know that face. Yeah, and in this, he's really young, and he's got long blonde curly hair, and it's so different to the Loki that we've sort of come to know with his very dark black hair. And it's funny to see him in a completely different role. But all of the actors, they're really good, and the storylines, obviously, the comics, they have a certain depth to them through the construction over so many different years. But it's brilliant the way that they've managed to bring it to life with the stories, the characters, the special effects. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I agree. I think I don't think it would be as good or anywhere near as good if they didn't have the exact actors that they had. I think, like for example, Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, they've all nailed it. All of the films that they've made, and even like everything about it is so smart because they had all of the stuff that we've just witnessed now recently. They had planned out from the very beginning, and the way they've just made the entire MCU is amazing in my eyes.
And also, who was it? The name of the actors who play Black Widow, and the other feminine roles. Yeah, Scarlett Johansson. Yeah. And the young one who draws the power, isn't it? That's X-Men. The one who is in that series with Vision.
Wanda.
Yeah. Who do you know who plays that?
Oh,
because she's really good as well, isn't she?
Yeah, I'm not going to remember her name off the top of my head, but I know who she is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think even with the series that they brought out on Disney Plus, I think they have done brilliantly with them. I think they seem to have a way with just really nailing their actors, their characters, the whole story. I think they just do brilliantly with it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And if you had to name one character, we've already done Iron Man, except for Iron Man. If you have to name one of the Marvel heroes that just you would love to meet as a real hero, who would it be?
Do I have to say hero? Could I say
heroine if you want? But I use it in a neutral manner. But you can call a baddie if you want, if you prefer.
Yeah, I'd say Loki probably.
Really?
Yeah, especially after his. I know it's probably strange because you'd expect me to say something like Chris Evans, because I used to love Captain America, but after watching the Loki series, I've just, I don't know, some sort of love for him and Tom Hiddleston. I think he's a brilliant actor, and I think in Loki he's great.
Mm. Yeah, I haven't even seen it yet. I haven't clicked it on yet. There's just so much to watch. There really is too much quality, but I will watch it because I've heard good things about it as well. And
I highly recommend.
yeah, I mean, we loved as a family Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I thought the guy that plays Falcon is brilliant, and his sister is also really
Yeah, she's a good actor.
Yeah, just really well, as you said, completely well cast. And yeah, good. I'm hoping for season 2, but I don't know how that's going to be because he becomes Captain America. So will they keep him as Falcon, or will they turn him now as to Captain America? I don't know.
In the comics, he becomes Captain America, but I'm not too sure. Really, I guess we just have to see what they do.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. So then, the last of the 3 of the movies that you've watched, which you particularly enjoyed. Yeah, I'll let you introduce it.
Shawshank Redemption. And well, I mean, it's rated as the best film of all time, but obviously that's on people's opinions, and I agree, it's definitely up there. It's so well constructed. Even that has a very good cast. I think it's just a brilliant film.
And also Morgan Freeman's voice all the way through. I mean, yeah, he's
amazing. He's an amazing actor in everything. Hello.
Yeah, and the storylines, the injustices, or in some cases, the fact that some of these inmates did actually commit the crimes that they were tried for. But the dynamics of their relationships, the changing nature of those relationships, to the way that they kind of came to bond with one another, it's almost like a sort of fascinating insight into the development of human nature in adverse scenarios. And then when he puts on the is it Figaro? There are these 2 almost angelic voices that come out, and it's a brilliant scene, isn't it?
Yeah, but I was gonna, before you said that, I was gonna go on to a certain scene. I was gonna say best scene in my opinion was the very last scene. I think it is when Morgan Freeman goes to meet what's his name, the main character,
Tim Robbins.
Yeah, when they meet at the place that he escaped to at the end of the film,
on the beach where he's building his boat.
Yeah, when Morgan Freeman goes to the tree and he sees the box that he's kept under the rock, and then he goes, I think that scene is brilliant. I think it's the perfect ending.
Yeah. I mean, in the story, obviously, we're talking about people that have, I mean, Tim Robbins, I think, spent about 20 or 26 years in jail. I can't imagine how long Morgan Freeman's character spent in jail. I think most of his adult life, basically. So who knows how many years they had ahead of them, but to spend it together, gives it a certain amount of meaning.
Yeah, it's a very, even that I think is quite a heavy film because of it. Even to me, I think that is a very realistic film, and there are 1 or 2 scenes that are quite tough to watch. There's the scene where the old man dies.
Yeah, he hangs himself.
Yeah, when he's free, because he got used to being in jail, and
institutionalization, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then obviously when they try to rape Tim Robbins in jail, that's quite a tough scene as well.
Yeah, it's a very, very realistic, very tough film.
Yeah. But okay, yeah. So definitely something to. I mean, I know we chucked in spoilers, so I should probably apologize to anybody. I'll put it in the notes. Don't listen to it if you don't want spoilers for Shawshank Redemption. Um, all right. Yeah. Next time we'll talk about TV series. Yeah, because I've got some. You know, I've got the Wheel of Time coming. So for me, this is like a gift from heaven,
We could do an
basically.
entire podcast on that one series.
Well, I mean, I will happily dedicate any number of podcasts to the Wheel of Time. Actually, there are podcasts dedicated completely to the Wheel of Time, and I enjoy listening to a lot of them. They're brilliant. So especially one called The Road to Tar Valon. But if you have time, I'll send you a link. It's brilliant. But yeah, so over the next few months, maybe more, depending on the actual dates, there are some movies coming out, which you're going to tell me which ones you're looking forward to most, basically.
Yeah, the next year or two is going to be insane in the sense of how many films are coming out. Not just Marvel, because obviously they're bringing out tons, but other films as well. Like I told you for Avatar 2, which
Yeah.
we've been waiting for what, 11, 12 years now for a second.
Long overdue, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, even then it was supposed to be only 7 or 8 years in the making, and that was what, 7, 8 years, and now it's been delayed. So how many times? Are you sure it's going to come out next year?
Well, I've checked multiple times, and on even the like cinema websites, it says that is coming soon.
Okay.
So
no, what are you looking forward to? Because I think the first Avatar was brilliant. I think it's like a modern day Cowboys and Indians. How would you rate it, basically?
I think it's a film that is so different to anything else. Like even with all the sci-fi that people have brought out, like with how Marvel have done their multiverse and all that stuff. I think Avatar is just such a different film, and it's so well created. And well, I mean, obviously it shows, doesn't it, how much money they made from it. I think it's a brilliant film, and I think a second one is definitely overdue.
Yeah, I mean, James Cameron is a bit of a genius, isn't he? So I mean, he's also done. Did he do Aliens? He did Aliens, didn't he? Wasn't it him who did Aliens? Yeah,
I think so.
I think so. I'm terrible when it comes to directors, but okay, Avatar anyway. We know for a fact that was him. All right, okay. Yeah, so Eternals. You said,
Yeah.
so this is a Marvel one. Okay, so this, where at which point in the storyline is this set exactly?
Well, I don't know everything about it, but when I watched the trailer, they said that it was after the Avengers,
Okay.
but they say that the characters in there have been on Earth for thousands of years apparently, but then they come out after the Avengers. So, that's what I've heard, but I'm not 100% sure.
All right. And the way that the storyline is, okay, I mean, it doesn't really matter if it's before, after, and they keep coming backwards and forwards because it's just brilliant, cinematic experiences that they're delivering. But is this before Endgame or is it after? Do you know?
I'm pretty sure they mentioned Endgame. I'm pretty sure it's after.
Okay. All right. So it's not like jumping backwards too much in the timeline. Okay. All right. And do you know? Are you aware of any specific characters that are there to greet them with these beings which suddenly decide to pop out?
Pretty much every single character in this is just completely new. They've just chucked in some complete new and crazy powerful characters because the Eternals are a group of basically invincible superheroes, pretty much.
Okay, but good or bad?
Good, I think.
Uh-huh. Okay. Oh, it's always nice to have some good
'Cause
people.
they, I think the whole purpose of them is to keep Earth safe of certain what are they? They're certain villains, but they're not the ones that you've seen in the MCU. They're the crazy big ones who could take out planets, you know, in the comic.
Okay.
So
All right. Okay. So even worse than the Infinity Stones, dude.
yeah, even worse than Thanos. Way worse
Okay.
than Thanos.
Uh-huh. Okay. Didn't even think that was possible. Fair enough. Okay. I mean, I really like these kinds of movies because they are quite simplistic, even though they are created in such a special way. The only thing that I don't like is the sort of two-dimensionality of it. It's always good against bad, and you know what I think that that's far too simplistic a way of expressing people's roles or positions within a given society. But I mean, we're talking about entertainment here. We're not talking about philosophy, so that's fair enough. Okay. Yeah, the next one, or the last one at least. Yeah, you and I disagree with it a little bit, don't we? So do you want to jump into that?
The films are John Wick,
Mm.
and this is the fourth one now that have come out. And me personally, I love them. I think Keanu Reeves this is one of his best films, and I think he's a very good actor in this. But you seem to disagree because you think it's just complete, just action, no story.
It's not just the action, no story, but I've watched so many action, no story movies that I'm going grey. The problem for me is that it's brutal violence, no story. It's non-stop revenge. It just basically seems to justify repeated murder on an endless scale without any. There's no remorse, he is just this absolutely cold killer. And the thing is, you look at it and you think, okay, do you know what he has sought his revenge for the death of his wife's memory, the killing of his dog, and the destruction of his home and his car and everything. So he sought revenge, he got it. After that, it would save so many lives if they just killed him off at the end of the first one. Yeah, you've got it now. That's it. Because in the next two movies, he kills hundreds of people.
Well, the first one is he obviously is this powerful person's son, doesn't know who he is. He thinks he's all big, he thinks he's all cool. So he goes and does all these horrible things to him. Okay. And then John Wick goes and he does what he does. And then in the second film, after all this happens, I think it's either the dad or the uncle one goes to kill John Wick because of what he's done to the kid. So that's why the second one is, and then the third one you didn't really watch, but I won't spoil too much. So
Yeah, I had to stop after 20 minutes. It was just ridiculous. I mean, the amount of times that you can kill somebody in a different way with a knife, it's just, yeah, I don't know. I find, I'm not necessarily against showing certain scenes, violent scenes in movies, because I think, unfortunately, the life in which we live is violent. War is violent. There are, any number of violent incidents that take place when people go out on a town, unfortunately. It would be unrealistic to have any kind of urban environment without violence, unfortunately. However, it's just this non-stop violence which is reflected in movies that really gets on my nerves. And I mean, I know you find it entertaining. I find it hard.
yeah, I guess I understand where you're coming from, but there's something about John Wick and the films that I enjoy so much, because obviously I'm with you. I don't like if there's I like story. I don't like if it's just no story whatsoever, and then it's just it's just all so that they can show off the visuals of the film. But there's some I like his character, and I like that he's not some superhero. He's kind of a bad guy in a way, and he's very skilled in what he does, and he knows how to keep himself safe. And I think I enjoy it, and I like the action too. But I think it's been good so far in the past 3 films.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll probably have to agree to disagree on it. I might give John Wick 3 another go, but I really want to see a bit more story introduced. Yeah, what can I say? We'll see how it goes. All right. I mean, from what you're saying, though, I do obviously understand the fact that. Good night, Chief. I do understand the fact that you like stories because obviously you added Schindler's List and Shawshank Redemption to your previous list, so you're not just into it for the violence. All right, we'll wrap up that section. But talking of violence, yeah, yesterday the really horrible injury to, is it Harvey Elliott?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was tough to watch.
Yeah. I mean, you always know when they don't show a replay that, oh, that's not good, is it? But only we saw it first time around. That was quite clear. That was a horrific injury. Have you? I mean, he sent a picture afterwards of with a thumbs up.
Yeah.
And yeah, what are the Liverpool pages saying about it?
They said that he's broken his ankle, but he's now in hospital. He's okay. But they don't think that he's going to play very soon.
Was it a break then, or a dislocation?
I'm pretty sure it was a break. But that's what everyone is saying anyway, all the pundits and what I've heard.
Well, a journalist in The Guardian, she said that he had seriously dislocated it. So I don't know, obviously, what that means, but if it's a break, I don't know if it really depends on the kind of damage that has occurred to the joint. I think that's what complicates it, and whether or not there's been nerve damage. But I mean, he's looking at least what he's probably not going to come back for the season, is he? And the really unfortunate thing is he was doing so well. I mean, 18 years old, and he'd sort of jumped into the team ahead of some very serious senior players. I mean, Henderson was on the bench. And Keita isn't playing either. He's done brilliantly, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he was something that we needed in our midfield, something lively, something new. And he was in brilliant, even if he's not got goal contributions at the moment. I think he's been doing brilliant. And it's a shame that it happened to him. Obviously, it's not good if it happens to anyone, but it's tough seeing someone young get an injury so bad.
I completely agree, and obviously, I hope he makes a full recovery and he's back to playing professional football as soon as possible. So, all the best to him. Okay, 4 games into the season. How'd you feel?
Oh, I'm happy. I mean, I'm disappointed with the Chelsea game because I believe that we deserve to win that game 100%. I mean, I think I'm not going to be biased. I'm going to say that Chelsea defended brilliantly, but I'm very disappointed that we haven't won all 4 games. But I can't complain. We are joint first. So.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the argument to have is when you have one player more than your opposition and you're a top team, doesn't matter who you're playing against, you've got to make it count. So,
yeah.
But as you say, I mean, Chelsea are just amazing when it comes to defending. So, I mean, Tuchel has really got the team going. It's interesting, isn't it, to see? I mean, United's manager, Solskjaer, everybody says he's not necessarily as technically gifted as the other top Premiership managers, but I mean, he's got a lot of competition because there are some really good managers in the Premier League. We haven't even mentioned Guardiola. So it's going to be tough. But obviously, United's played perhaps some of the easier games, even though they struggled quite heavily against Southampton, only managed to get a draw. But I think City's played tougher opposition. Chelsea, Liverpool have played tougher opposition. Spurs have played tougher opposition. So it's all to play for though. But it's yeah, it looks like an interesting start, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think this is probably the most entertaining season that I've watched, like recently or in the past few years, because of the amount of amazing players that there are in the league at the moment. And I think it's going to be a brilliant title race. I think it's going to be close all the way through, unless a certain team just decides to pull something out of the bag completely and just dominate completely and go, I know, invincible or almost every game. But I think it's going to be a very close season.
Yeah, I can't see any one team running away with it, because each team has a certain there's something missing in each team. As in, Liverpool has a problem area in midfield and
up front.
Maybe they need a top class striker they don't have. United doesn't have any really good defensive midfielders. And yeah, if David De Gea remains the number one because Henderson is out, that for me is a bit of a weak point. Even though De Gea has been good this season, but the last couple of seasons he hasn't been very good. City, they don't really have a top striker. I mean, for me, the most complete team is Chelsea.
I think they have probably the best team. They've got a strong bench as well. I don't think they've got any area where they are lacking skill.
No.
And I think every other team has something, like you just said. So I think they're definitely at a slight advantage there.
Yeah.
I still think that it's going to be very close.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, if there's any team that is going to put together a run, I think it's, at the moment, it looks like possibly being Chelsea, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the game. I'm still, even with 3-0, and with how we've won so much, the Elliott thing, I don't think the performance was as good as it could have been. I think, well, as the statistics show, Mane had more shots than the entire Leeds team, and he only scored in stoppage time. And even like Jota, Salah, they had so many chances. It could have been 5, 6, but we just didn't put them away at all. And it's annoying, because Leeds are a team where the midfield is so open, they just attack completely, and we should have took advantage of that. But we still need to work on things.
Yeah, I mean, but also Leeds. I mean, Leeds should have scored first. As in, I think the first 2 very good opportunities fell to Leeds. And it was only.
Sorry, you go on.
No, I was just saying it was only after that Salah scored.
Yes, we were so open in defense. I think Van Dijk hasn't got back to his normal self, and it was so open in between him and Matip. We need to work on a few things.
Yeah, well, I mean, Klopp's a great manager, so he'll get them sorted out. I mean, and okay, Van Dijk, as you said, he's practically had 3/4 of a season out, so he's back now. He didn't play in the European Cup, or in the European Championships, I should say. So yeah, we'll see how he develops. I don't know. I just hope it's a good season. Obviously, I want the team that I support, Man United, to be competing at the end of the season. We'll see how it goes.
I was saying earlier that I think it would be a bad season for United if they didn't win a trophy. I don't know if you agree, you probably don't, but I think that you have one of the most brilliant teams that I've seen, with obviously Ronaldo, Sancho, Bruno, Pogba, Cavani on the bench. I think Varane as well. I think you have such a good team that it would be quite surprising to see you not bring a trophy home.
Yeah, Um, yeah, the thing is though, what I don't want to do is turn into one of those fans who just thinks, oh, yeah, if we don't, okay, although if we don't win a trophy, then fire the manager. There's a sense of entitlement that comes around. I always have to sort of pinch myself to remember that. I grew up at a time when Ferguson became manager, they didn't win anything for a few years, and then all of a sudden it just went crazy with the Premier League years, and they won 13 titles. That sort of was the norm. That if United didn't win the title this year, they'd win it next year, and that's just how it was. And I don't like it when people have a sense of entitlement that, oh, Manchester United has to win the league, or they have to win this or that. They have to earn it. They've got to deserve it. And so I hope that they will win a trophy. Maybe a cup would be nice. But I really want to see them challenging for the league. They don't have to win it, but I want to see them challenging. That's the way it is.
I agree with my team, especially after last season.
Yeah, well, I mean, you guys have been, you won the Champions League and then you won the league. I mean, you've had something to cheer about quite recently, and you've still got a fantastic team. So yeah, we'll see how that develops. All right. Yeah, what can I say, man? It's great being able to just have this chat with you. Obviously, because I just enjoy talking to you. I miss you a lot. It's been a year. Can you believe it? I haven't seen you in a year, man. That's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're in touch. So hopefully I'll see you soon. Everybody here, we'd all like to have you, come visit us as soon as possible. But let's see how it works out. Thanks, Alexander. It's great to talk to you, mate.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here.
Good lad. Take care, and
you too, man.